Good Friday afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. Victor, how are you doing?
Still alive.
Still alive.
Survived KubeCon.
Survived
again.
We'll talk about that a little bit more. Hi, everybody. My name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we're the host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox that comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, and on Fridays when we're around, which happens to be today. It hasn't been around for 5 weeks. We do this live show. Heads up, next Friday, we are not going to be here because in the U.S. it's Thanksgiving holidays, and my daughter has something planned for next Friday that she won't tell me what it is. So, she said, you just can't do your live stream next Friday. I went, okay, that's all I need to know. So KubeCon was interesting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, interesting is a strange word. It was, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now. I think that the whole ecosystem entered mature phase, so it's interesting on many aspects, but not interesting in terms of, I just saw those 5 projects that thought of things that nobody else thought before. This is so amazing, innovative, and stuff like that. Not because people are doing a bad job, but simply it's a mature project. Like imagine going to LinuxCon or whatever it's called for Linux, right? Kind of, do you expect completely new Linux distributions or that are not even Linux based, but something completely new? No, kind of, it's a mature segment of the industry. It's people are more interested or working on making it, secure and stable than interesting.
Speaking of interesting, your video was really choppy today. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Well, I have no idea.
Yeah, okay. We're also doing multicasting today. We have actually 2 YouTube streams going. We have the standard landscape, which probably most of you are watching. We're also doing vertical or portrait on a second stream. And we also have a stream going over on LinkedIn on the DevOps Paradox page because I forgot to put it on my page. I put it on the wrong place.
One thing that confused the hell out of me yesterday when I was doing something similar is that if you go to the YouTube channel itself, in YouTube itself, you get 2 streams. So I was expecting, I was expecting kind of, it's going to show me only one or the other, depending on whether I'm on a mobile or desktop. Yeah. It shows in both. So I did, as a user, I'm not sure that I would know how to choose easily.
Yeah, so the way you choose, if you take a look at it, there's actually a little phone icon at the very end, or at least that's how StreamYard, which is what we're using. So what I'm going to do next time is I make sure that I put the icon at the front of things so it's easier to tell. Because it's like, how do I tell them apart? I couldn't tell. K-Squared, good to see you. Okay, so moved us both down. I'm trying to figure out where the comments go. That's very interesting. And question here, what are your thoughts on Cursor 2.0? I have none.
I haven't tried it in depth. I wanted to. I really did. And I started, and just it feels wrong. Not Cursor 2.0, but it feels wrong now for me to be in IDE. And I completely accept that this is me and not everybody else. I spent maybe an hour with it. It's kind of, this does not feel right. Not version 2, but simply IDE. For me, for my workflow.
Okay. Go back here. K-Squared is actually Kieran. So, okay, good. That's interesting. I don't know if it's the multi-stream that's, who knows. I want to get to the second part of this. Claude Sonnet 4.5, no. Haiku 4.5 is my daily driver.
Yeah.
And then go to Sonnet when I have to.
I'm still using Sonnet mostly because companies paying for it. but if it would be from my own pocket, I would go for Haiku. I think it's 1/3 of the price and it's almost just as good and it's fast. I love it. I spent quite some time. So can I tell you about my week?
Please do.
My week was Gemini 3 exclusively.
We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah. Okay. Then we'll get to that later. Yeah.
Okay. So I switch to Sonnet when I need it because most of the things, like if I'm just asking questions, I'm definitely staying on Haiku just because I'm still using the the Claude desktop just for the chat capabilities.
Yeah.
But when I'm starting coding, I think probably I've been trying to do Haiku to see how good it gets. And I don't think I've hit a scenario yet where Haiku would not cover what I needed. It was close enough. We are not streaming from our phones. We are just normal streaming, but our platform is actually sending out 2 different streams. So we send it gets a Victor stream, it gets a Darren stream. I'm sharing a desktop here. So we send in 3 streams, and then it takes care of sending out everything. That's how we do it. And that's
modern technology.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and get into the show because there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. I won't go through. So again, we've been gone for 5 weeks. So you've been spending all week on Gemini 3. I went to Disney for almost 10 days. So I was in Florida. I win. Well, that's been a while back. I got back and then I got sick for like 10 days. So this week is when I started feeling human again. Plus, I had jury duty this week. So fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to take a look at it, I didn't have to serve beyond just getting in the pool, and they didn't need me. So that's great. I was in and out in 2 hours. But it's I've been on juries before. I won't go into what they were, but I at least in the U.S. I consider it a very big thing and something to not be blown off. But anyway, 5 things here. 5 things. Good grief. Episodes. Again, I'm still tweaking out the new theme on the website. So if you're running into any problems, please let me know in Slack. This week we did have the KubeCon review, which we'll get more into in just a few minutes. We had Whitney on, and we'll explain why everything sounded so much better than it normally does in a minute. Now, I've been trying to load this page, and this page keeps on timing out. This page was supposed to be Crossplane graduating. It's just not loading up right now. Crossplane.io is down. So,
well, not much I can help there, but yeah, it graduated. It's awesome. It's now in the big boys club or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
Or girls.
There's a very small handful of apps compared to the total fabric of the quilt that have graduated. So it's a big deal.
If you exclude the projects that you are not using directly, it's even smaller club, right? Because there are things like Containerd that most people kind of like, it just exists, it's there. I don't know, AWS has it in EKS, right?
Yeah.
But so it's even smaller club if you talk about user-facing projects.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The one that went into incubating was Lima. Now I started thinking, it's like, Lima, I've heard of that. And then I realized, I use Lima on my Mac to run all my containers.
Oh, is it Lima for running models, right?
Yes. Well, okay. You can. You can do that as well. But because Lima runs Containerd, Docker, Podman, it wraps all these things. In fact, it even has its own.
Okay. Okay, it's like Podman-like.
Correct.
Okay.
So that
nice.
was incubating. That's good. But then, to me, what I think was the biggest announcement this week, let me go ahead and stop that, just so I don't do anything else. Ingress NGINX retirement.
Makes me very happy.
It makes you very happy. Why do you say that?
Okay, so here's the story.
Okay.
Quite some time ago, we got Gateway API or API Gateway. I don't know. The names are just ridiculous. Gateway API, right? Which basically solves significant number of problems with Ingress. Ingress is probably the worst API that ever entered Kubernetes, right? And I had high hopes that people will move to Gateway API, and they didn't. And my theory is that they didn't move to Gateway API. Everybody uses Ingress for 2 reasons. First, because third-party Helm charts support only Ingress very often. Shame on them. More importantly, because there is potentially a lot of work to move from Ingress to Gateway API, because in Ingress you end up with a lot of annotations and what's not. And so it's not a drop-in replacement. You cannot just say, switch to Gateway API, right? There's work involved. People don't want to do the work when there are no tangible benefits. Now, you cannot move from Ingress NGINX to some other Ingress overnight either, because Ingress NGINX has specific annotations that don't work elsewhere in other ingresses and so on and so forth. It's a mess. So you have to put the work in. And that leads me to have hope that if people are going to be forced to invest into moving to something else, that will result in much higher adoption of Gateway API, which is replacement for Ingress, instead of just investing into yet another Ingress. So I'm not happy that project is retired. I'm just happy of the side effect of that.
Right. There's actually one or two people that work on it in nights and weekends. And that's the problem.
If you will allow me 2 minutes of yelling,
Okay.
this is, I think you've been repeating as well. Open source projects don't survive without commercial interest in those open source projects, right? It's simply not happening. We need a healthy balance between commercial and open source. Both of them are needed because you need dedicated maintainers paid instead of starving to be dedicated on projects, right? And then random contributions come in. And this is an example, right? Simply nobody had commercial interest to pay people to work on that project. And then two people that were working when they could moved on somewhere else. And the project is dead. It's dead because it was only open source. That's my theory.
Just to clarify this, its best effort maintenance will continue until March of 2026. So effectively, it's already retired, sort of like me. It's already retired. I'm doing best effort right now to do this stream. It's a job.
Exactly.
Not really.
I mean, I think that you're paid for this stream much more than them. You probably earn $1 every month, and they earn zero. That's infinitely more.
It's pretty close. Actually, it's about $10 a month, I think.
Then you're rich compared to those two.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about this might force people to jump. Of course, when this happened, people started coming out of the woodworks. It's like, oh, Traefik, in this case, Traefik is the only true drop-in replacement. So I like your title here, besides it being clickbait. This is one thing we didn't mention either. It said it sort of. March 2026 is when best effort ends. This is 4 months. Can you think of a time when something was deprecated, retired this quickly? Announced with that short of a... I mean, I've heard of a couple, but it's not many, right? Normally it's a year or something, but...
The problem with Ingress in Kubernetes is that most people did not choose Ingress. They kind of, what's available? Let me do a tutorial on Kubernetes. Oh, there is something NGINX Ingress over there. I'm going to use that, and eventually I put it in production, right? I'm not making an educated choice. I'm just using whatever was available there, right? For those who did pay any amount of attention to Ingress NGINX, any amount beyond helm install command, knew that that project is in trouble and will be deprecated years ago. So for some people, this is not news. It's just acknowledgement of the reality.
Yeah. So if you're one that cannot get your apps migrated to Gateway API, I cannot recommend Traefik, but it seems like, based on what I'm reading, that at least it's an option. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Traefik is good. I like Traefik. I use it often. I was not aware that it's a drop-in replacement. It doesn't surprise me, though, because I'm pretty sure that even if it wasn't drop-in replacement yesterday, today it is. Right. Because it's an opportunity that cannot be passed. I still strongly recommend, use this opportunity to move to Gateway API. Please, 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 please,
right.
please.
Well, this is the way they're talking about it too. It's Ingress NGINX decommissioning, so at least get you to Traefik while you're planning out your gateway API modernization. Instead of doing it in 4 months, you've got a little bit.
Please don't do that.
Don't
please,
do it.
please don't
Just
do it, because this is, if you ever plan to do it, this is opportunity. If you now transition into something more or less the same, you will not do it next 5 years, because that's how companies work, right? You're never going to get time, budget, what's not to do the transition any other time but now.
Okay. I buy that. Except it's happening all during the holidays. You're effectively losing 6 weeks.
I mean, look, first of all, there is 4 months best effort. Let's say that it's retired now. It's not that it will stop working. I mean, how many companies do you know, Darin, that use things that are retired years and years ago, right?
More than I can.
So it's not that you have some specific amount of time to do it. It's just that you should do it. Whether in a month or 3 or 6 months, I don't know. Depends on your setup, on you, on how much effort you can put. But it's not you have to do it before March.
Right. Okay, let's move on from this. This was announced, I'm not sure, not at KubeCon, but announced while KubeCon was going on. Distributed computing startup Taho, not to be confused with Mac OS Taho, which if we want to talk about that, we can.
Naming is hard.
Without the E, setting its sights on replacing Kubernetes as the main orchestration and scheduling layer that sits at the heart of AI workloads after raising $3.5 million in seed. Now, again, seed money at the single-digit millions, low single-digit millions, has become the standard.
Yeah, that's not never heard before figure, so not something to brag. It's nice, thank you so much, kind of, but it's not amazing. I'm not going to even look at it, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Okay, at least it's on the radar now. Like, so we'll still say, didn't we talk about that one time long ago?
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens.
Because the thing that everybody kind of tends to ignore, not everybody, but many tends to ignore, is, first of all, replacing Kubernetes is a gigantic effort. Not the same, but somehow similar to saying, hey, I'm going to create a new operating system. Well, I would really like that because we use operating system created many decades ago. But good luck making everything that we run on Linux is work there, right? And the same thing I can say for Kubernetes. It's just gigantic effort with many companies involved, infinite number of contributions and so on and so forth. And that's on Kubernetes alone. And then and that's the same complaint I had about Wasm. Kind of remember, you're not just as Wasm is not replacing containers, or this cannot replace Kubernetes. It needs to replace the ecosystem, right? Yeah. And that's why I feel it's similar to Linux. You make better Linux, cool, but my monitor does not work with it, right? Or my keyboard doesn't work. Yeah. Or my applications don't work. Cloud Code does not work there, right? Kind of a lot needs to happen to replace something so gigantic. And I would like to see replacement, but I fear that the replacement will happen only when we have a drastic shift in how we think we should do things. Like Kubernetes was a drastic shift from what we were doing before, SSHing into VMs and what's not, right? So if somebody comes up with a drastic change, kind of not something that is similar yet the same, then yeah, it might happen.
Okay, I want to give them the opportunity here to state what they're really doing. Mm-hmm. So the CEO says it wasn't designed. Kubernetes was not designed for the demands of modern AI workloads running at large scale. You would agree with that? Designed. You have to. The key word there is design.
So.
Because AI workloads
if you remove AI from that picture.
But that's the key part. That's what they're doing here. Is it's for AI.
Yeah, but is it AI really that different?
Let's finish.
I'm not saying it's okay. Go for it. Yeah.
He says the startup is not aiming to replace Kubernetes entirely, but just its orchestration and scheduling capabilities. It runs below the application layer and can plug directly into Kubernetes clusters, containers, and CI/CD pipelines they're already using. So it's just wedging in.
That's different
Optimize.
than what I thought. Okay, cool. So it's kind of addition in a way, or
correct. That will focus. That will focus on AI workloads because, again, Kubernetes, I don't know if this is probably different than what you're going to say. Kubernetes was meant to be a general, in my opinion, general purpose workload management system.
Correct.
Whereas I honestly do believe that AI has, even though the workloads look similar and you're still running them effectively the same, I still think there's enough difference that they've got to be treated like snowflakes.
Oh, definitely. Just like, first versions of Kubernetes were very focused on stateless apps, and stateless apps are very different from stateful apps, right?
Correct.
There are differences. And if this is not a replacement for Kubernetes, but kind of this will enhance Kubernetes, I'm all for it. Then I change my tune.
Okay. So let's rewind real quick and just throw out. No, your rant was taken well. So anyway, that's Taho. We'll keep an eye on that. 6 must-have MCP servers and how to use them. This was from Docker. Let's go through the list. Context 7, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Okay. Obsidian.
I don't know what it is.
Well, Obsidian's the Notes app. The
Okay.
Markdown Notes app. Okay. Whatever. DuckDuckGo for searching. Sure.
Okay.
Web search.
I mean, they're pretty good at doing that without any MCP.
Anything. Yeah.
If
Docker
you're searching
Hub.
for information, not searching as if I'm testing my web app.
Right. Docker Hub. Okay, whatever. Move here. GitHub Official.
Yes, I use it all the time.
Okay. And Notion.
Not my cup of tea, but yeah.
Okay. So nothing extreme there. Pretty good. We're going to get back to MCPs in a little bit. Cloudflare obviously had an outage. If you were awake or you were waking up, you found out that this is a picture you'd never see from Cloudflare. You're used to seeing green, green, red, right? That's the typical Cloudflare stack. But when you see green, red, green, something's not so great. And it turned out to be a database problem, sort of. It wasn't DNS.
How long was the outage?
Let's see, do they have the time on here? I believe it was a couple of hours, actually.
Okay.
So it was basically they had the change it was database permissions of some sort. I read through this, but I can't remember when I read it. So I've already forgotten. Anyway, all done. So 11:30 to 13:10, and then 14:40 to 15:30. So they had it, lost it, or bad, got it back, bad. Life goes on.
Do you remember the time when our outages last for days?
Days.
Yeah. Days.
Yeah, I remember. So again, humans. There were 2 big conferences. Well, actually, there was one big conference this week. Microsoft Ignite was this week. I have not put the links in. I'll put the links in after the show. This is a AI summarization of everything that happened at the Microsoft Ignite conference. It was all about agents and AI and agents and AI and more AI with some agents, and it just keeps getting worse. But at least everything is here. There wasn't anything to me that was like, oh wow, this is a must-have, because I mean when I see SharePoint listed, I'm like, I don't remember SharePoint other than how to say it.
There is one interesting thing, and I cannot repeat the exact wording, but basically my takeaway of all that is that Microsoft is transitioning to become AI infrastructure company for agents, kind of. Yeah. We don't want you people anymore. They're kind of like, we just want to create infrastructure and services in a way that they can be consumed with agents, and that's it.
Yeah.
So infrastructure needed for agents to do things, to be more precise, kind of. What do agents need? We don't care about you.
Yeah. But as they were getting ready to start the Ignite keynote, Google decided, hey, let's launch Gemini 3.
Yeah.
And it also has a new IDE, which again, of course, is based on VS Code. What's it called? Artificial something? Of course it is.
Anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity. Thank you. I knew there was an A. Anti-gravity. AGI. Anti-gravity. AGI. So there's that page, and then bringing just a cover. Okay, so talk me through why I need to consider Gemini 3. I've heard some interesting things about coding, but I really haven't heard anything else that was like, okay, whatever.
So there is, so first in general, kind of, if you ignore coding, Gemini 3 is a really good model. I don't like making claims it's the best model or second best, or but it's a very, very good model. The claims how it is leaps away, how it leapfrogged everything, I don't think that's true. Kind of that's a marketing thingy. Now, specifically for developers, I still firmly claim that Sonnet 4.5 is better. And more importantly, it is better when used from agents. There is a higher rate of, I experience higher rate of hallucinations. It is very grumpy. It does not allow, it's very hard to change its mind. Like, if you do some kind of spec-driven development, whatever the spec is, right? That's it. I could not change its mind. Kind of like, no, but in the middle of it, I want it this way. It said, you're absolutely right. And then it continues back, goes back to what it was doing. It's hard to change its mind. It is very grumpy. It is fast but hasty. So the responses are closer to Haiku, for example, but it spends less time analyzing things. And it often forgets the context or parts of the context. So, if you give it longer tasks, like, hey, do those 20 things, the chances are by the time it finishes the fifth thing, it will completely go off the rails. It's a great model. So if Sonnet wouldn't be there, I would be using it, but Sonnet is there. And on top of that, so I was working using Gemini CLI. So Gemini CLI with Gemini 3 combination. I think that we cannot speak as software engineers about models alone, right? It's models with the agents I'm using. And simply, I'm sticking, the conclusion is that I'm sticking with Claude and Sonnet. And if you want to know more, wait for Monday. This is the first time I'm releasing a video actually immediately. Kind of, I just finished the material today. It's in editing phase. It's all the jazz.
So you're doing next week what I had to do this week for KubeCon. Basically, last second record and get it out. Yeah,
rush it. And trust me, my video about Gemini 3 will be probably the one made after everybody else. Kind of everybody published, and this is the thing that I really dislike about our industry. Everybody published thoughts about Gemini 3 an hour after it was released. Kind of, you have no idea. You never used it. Kind of like people are, and everybody's just repeating marketing claims. It's kind of, oh, it's best on this benchmark. Kind of, how can you say that you never worked with it? So I'm disappointed on all the reviews from other people.
Well, supposedly some influencers, quote unquote, already had early access, but
yeah, there was early access, and I had the early access. Full transparency. That's why I'm publishing it now and not a week from now. But early access was given days before it was announced, unless somebody special used it.
Right. Okay. Google will show back up in a few minutes. Also, AWS this week announced the Kiro CLI. Kiro is their answer to Gemini CLI and all the other things.
Very cool.
So, does this mean now that you're going to be doing this? So, what's also interesting is...
I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm already typing.
Okay. Anyway, Kiro now has a CLI, finally.
Very cool.
Back to Google. Google this past week announcing another $40 billion over the next 2 years in Texas. Thank you very much. If you don't understand, deep in the heart of Texas, go watch Pee-wee's Great Adventure when he's at the Alamo. You'll get it. You'll get it.
And then next year I will ask you for your electricity bill.
That's the great thing about Texas is power is deregulated.
Okay.
That's a different conversation for a different day. But they're going to be getting new things. Basically, they're along with more than 6,200 megawatts or 6.2 gigawatts. By the way, I did go and see Back to the Future in the theaters when it was back in the theaters for the 40th anniversary. It was cool. There was lots of things in there that I realized that I got used to watching the filtered version on TV. It's like, oh, I would not let a little kid watch this movie. That's a different conversation. But anyway, Google announces that, not to be outdone, Anthropic announces $50 billion in infrastructure. So we're talking about $90 billion in infrastructure. Of course, part of this is where they're also passing, where Anthropic invests in NVIDIA, or NVIDIA invests in Anthropic, and then Google invests in, and they keep passing the money around.
It feels like very creative.
Without being too creative, right? It's easy to follow the money.
Oh yeah, I have this company and we just earned this money, but I transferred half of it to my wife, and then I pay taxes only for half of it, and then my cousins also happen to be owners of the kind of insanities.
Yeah. So anyway, Google announced Anthropic. The one thing I didn't mention is that the U.S. government is giving, I can't remember the actual number. It wasn't a huge number, but it was in the billions. It was like, I think, single-digit billions to bring 3 Mile Island, to help bring 3 Mile Island back online. Constellation Energy is who's actually operating it for Microsoft.
Nice.
So we got power everywhere, except it's only for AI data centers where about 20 or 30 people will be employed. That's the one thing people don't think about. But
it's kind of, this is, without entering too deep, this is important. Kind of, you can consider it sovereignty, or you can consider it national security and stuff like that. But you need those things. We need those things. Kind of like AI data centers for AI are going to be very, very important, critical for on many different levels.
Well, for me, it's at the point to where I'm looking ahead 20 years to where it's going to be cheaper to operate. So now we're going to have excess capacity. So in theory, power could be cheaper. We know it won't be to the consumers because it'll be time to recoup and build out whatever the next thing is for the next 50 years.
And it's going to, this is forcing certain infrastructure projects that were probably long overdue to be done, but nobody dared to do them. Kind of, I know in States and in Europe as well, kind of electrical grid is a disaster, right? Kind of the high prices are in part because a lot of energy is lost, and now we need to build them again and stuff like that. It's probably a good thing on the long run.
Yeah, that I agree with. One thing that did come out this week was the new OWASP Top 10, or the OWASP for 2025. I wish they had a comparison against the last one they released, but they don't. It's been 4 years. Actually, it's a release candidate, so it's been 4 years. Broken access controls, that's normal. Actually, here's the diff. Broken access control is still number 1. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more for this one. Oh, that helps. Cryptographic failures drops, injection drops, insecure design drops. Whereas we have security misconfiguration go way up. Software and supply chain is new failures. And then the bottom stay pretty much the same, except for SSRF fell off in favor of mishandling of exceptional conditions. So we basically have 2 new items and 6 that moved around and 2 that fell off. Guess what? All the software vendors are now going to start writing about new things for replacing OWASP items. Okay. If that's part of your life, have fun. Agent Sandbox. I saw this I guess this was announced at KubeCon. Guardrails for agentic AI on Kubernetes and GKE. This was specific. Did you look into? You're muted still.
No, not yet. I mean, I know of it. I looked at it as if I briefly went through the post, but I haven't looked at it as in tried it.
Hands on. Okay. It makes sense, right? We need sandboxes. So
yes, 100%.
And also they announced pod snapshots. GKE exclusive feature that enables full checkpoint and restore of running pods. Good, bad, indifferent?
Good.
Well, it's mainly drastically reduces startup latency of agent and AI workloads because you need to know where you were.
Yep.
You don't want to start over. So that's GKE stuff. I imagine that snapshot will start showing up in all the other providers as well. I don't expect that to be a thing.
I already solved that. I just 2 days ago I ordered a new laptop and I'm going to use my old laptop as a sandbox. Okay, now I give you full permissions. Go.
Yeah, exactly. One thing, this is a great just tutorial running N8N on Cloud Run, which I hadn't really thought much about, but it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Have you stood up N8N yourself yet?
It's not my cup of tea. I tried a couple of times, but after playing with it for an hour, not my cup of tea. It feels like whichever reasons I had personally, and I'm not saying this is very useful for many people, but whichever reasons I had not to adopt low code, no code before are still the same.
Yeah. But anyway, this is just sort of a good getting started, how to run it on Google. And again, I hadn't really thought much about it running it on Cloud Run, but it makes total sense.
Oh yeah. And I can, even though I was negative now for me, I can imagine this is anything in general for lots of people. It's just amazing. Kind of like now you can be in HR and just, okay, here's my Excel, here's my email, do this, do that. It's absolutely amazing.
Yep. A couple of articles quickly from Daniel Meisler. When to use Claude Code skills versus commands versus agents. Are you confused by them as well? I still am.
I think that Claude Code and Anthropic, I love you guys, but you need to calm down a bit and start thinking about kind of like what is what.
Well, he states it here. They're all essentially the same thing. Markdown files containing prompts.
Yes,
and
correct.
He goes into when to potentially use them, when not. So it's a good coverage there. Then he posted one. Now, this was earlier. This was a couple weeks ago or a week ago. This was yesterday. Or no, this is the third. So the previous one was before the third. This is third. Just published an article. This is Anthropic, published an article on code execution with MCPs. Now, unless I'm reading this wrong, and he's not, because I read the article too, which is I have listed here next. They're saying something pretty interesting. Don't use MCPs to call the tools directly. They're too heavy. Use MCPs to figure out how the tool works. Then have your agents write actual code that call the APIs efficiently.
That's where MCP 2.0 is going. I mean, but basically 2.0, my understanding is that it will be more programmatic MCP, where actually agent will be able to execute MCP in a similar way it executes CLI commands, right? And maybe execute this MCP and then pipe it to grep to return only this, right? Kind of so that you reduce that context overhead. But I will say that many of those problems that are being people are trying to solve are problems from bad designs of MCPs in the first place.
Right. They claim the reduced token usage from 150,000 to 2,000 tokens, a 98% reduction. So if you're wanting to look into this, here's the actual post that he's talking about, which he linked into as well, and goes into, okay, here's how it worked. Here's what we're saying, don't do that anymore. And then the point, though, that he brought up here, have your agents write actual code. Have actual code that calls the APIs efficiently, period. That's the way I read this. I lost your video.
Yeah.
Did you turn it off? Did your battery die?
Can you hear me?
I hear you, yes.
Okay, then probably my battery died. We'll see. It's not the battery. It's gonna. Anyway, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Anyway, so this is the reason why I was saying we'll talk about MCPs a little bit later. Is it was around this? It's like, okay, MCP isn't necessarily the answer. There's still machines calling machines, and the best way to have machines call machines is via some sort of API, right? Now, I can't see
yes,
there you are.
Exactly. There we go. Oh,
That was weird. Anyway, waiting for you to. Oh
yeah, I
your
should
camera
pop up.
menu. That's weird.
There we go. Exactly. Yeah. It needs to be more
Machine.
machine. Yeah, kind of basically. Right now, agents send information to LLM. Kind of those are MCP tools. Those are parameters. Invoke any of them. Where we should be going is invoke them, but then combine it with stuff.
Right.
A simple example, right? Pipe it to grep. I'm not saying that that's literally what it should do, but that's the direction we need to go so that it actually treats them as tools for real. Actually, it treats them as tools, but to programmatic tools, right? Just like Linux tools are in a way pipeable,
Right.
programmable.
I agree with that. One tool I found. Have you heard of this Dockling? It's been out for a while.
Oh, it rings a bell, but now I forgot. Perhaps your file. Yeah, I know about it. Yes, I haven't been using it in depth yet, but yeah.
It is a Linux Foundation project.
Okay.
The reason why it showed up. Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason why it showed up on my radar is that they just released a Java library to do. It's all Python. It's all Python, so that's fine. Because there's a CLI within Python, which I just started testing a little bit ago. It's very interesting because you can feed it pretty much anything, or it knows a lot of we'll look at the PDFs, all the different Microsoft documents, ASCII doc, images, audio, which I actually tested a little while ago. It's pretty sure we're trying to get all of our data ready for AI to consume, and this makes it simple. It doesn't mean it's perfect, but it does seem to work. I was actually sort of shocked that it worked as well as it did. If we want to, we can take a look at it in a minute. We'll finish getting through everything else. But Dockling, and do you understand why it's called? Why the what's the word? Mascot is a duck. Duckling?
Because
Dockling?
duck sounds like duck.
Duck.
I'm
Dockling.
guessing.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it is. And then I got some good news from Microsoft today. I can't believe this. You want some actual good news from Microsoft?
Okay, go for it.
Zork 1, 2, and 3 are now open sourced under MIT.
Wait, we're talking about the game from ages
Zork.
ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They've open sourced all 3 of them.
Okay, very good.
You can, having you looked at the repo, let's take a look at the repo. Let's see what it looks like. There it is. 6 years ago. There's the license from yesterday. So now we can play
Very cool.
Zork. That's one.
It probably uses 8 kilobytes of memory.
Probably. So let's see what's here. There's Zork, Starcross, Hitchhiker's Guide. That was a fun one too. Planetfall, Suspended, Deadline. So all these great Infocom games. Okay, wait. I got to look and see. Is there something there? Okay, so this one hasn't been officially open sourced yet because it doesn't have a license on it.
Yeah.
But we'll
Nice.
see. I was not great at these games because I got bored really fast.
Oh, I loved it. I would spend too much time.
Yeah. There's how you run it right there. There's a scenario box.
It was hard, man. Because it's not like today. You type something and it understands, but kind of type the wrong thing, wrong character, and it doesn't work.
And you had, again, 5 videos. Let's go ahead and go to, or any of these you want to call out? There was MCP
this
servers.
is how, different ways to run MCP servers.
Self-healing.
Self-healing, exactly. This is me evaluating models.
Which was good for about the time it got released for about the next hour, right? And that was it. It was probably already out of date by the time you released it.
I think it's still probably the thing that would change the equation is probably Kimi 2 and Gemini 3.
Okay. But besides that, okay. How orchestration works.
Yeah, exactly. That's agents and healing. Yeah. Remediation.
Remediation. We joked about it. If you haven't listened to this week's episode yet, where we had Whitney on talking about stuff, again, typically we would try to record those on a Thursday at the end of KubeCon. So KubeCon runs, Monday through Thursday, roughly, right? Normally we would try to record on Thursday at some point, and Victor said, I can't record today. Listen to the audio. I mean, you can tell him if you want. I'm not going to say it.
No, just a polite explanation was that I couldn't find time. The real explanation, I just had a hangover. That's
all it was.
You'll hear more about it.
So listen to that.
That's the disadvantage. I do most of what I do is in public. So even if I would try to hide it, there are a bunch of people that will tell you that anyway. So I cannot hide stuff anymore.
I'm going to pull up Dockling real quick here while we're talking about stuff, if it will actually work. Let me go back the other direction. I have it running on my other machine, so I have to log into it. Let's see if I can actually get it to work. Okay, so let me stop sharing this, just so you can see how it works. Let me stop sharing that, start sharing this. For the people that are watching on your phones, because I can actually see who's watching on the phone. So I saw Moz and who else I saw? Rob was watching on the phone. So let us know how that was, because it has been horrible for us. But anyway, all right, so let me share this. I want to share this window. And I'm just going to share a window. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to CD over to, let me resize that. That looks a little better. CD to, I've got it just in a repo right now, Dockling. And now I need to activate, so put it in a good virtual environment. You should at least do that with Python. And then if you were to take a look at, I'm not sharing the screen anymore, but if you were to go into the Getting Started section, they have an example that you can run, which is what I'm going to run from a quick start perspective, using the CLI, because I don't want to write Python. So you can pass in, like this is going to be a PDF. So if I go ahead and run that, then the one thing I noticed is that only, at least on Mac, it's only using CPU, so it's not taking advantage of any of the GPUs that I have available.
But does it require LLM at all?
So it depends on what type of content you're processing. So in the case of, like when I fed it an MP3, it needed OpenAI Whisper. So it needed to download a Whisper model. And it did that automatically for me. I had to deal with one SSL thing, but that was it. So that processed. So what we can see here is it downloaded this PDF. So it figures out, so it spins up everything. It sees, oh, it's a PDF. So I'm not having to tell it it's a PDF. It's figuring out, we lost your camera again, but that's fine. And then goes through all the stuff. And then it tells me it's writing out this output. So I'm going to cat this output. And just so you can see, yes, there's a bunch of garbage there, but that garbage is actually, here, I'm actually going to quit out of that. Let me do that differently. What was the D? So if I do a less 22, let's do that. So it just does, in this case, by default, markdown output. There's actually an image. That's what that big ugly part is right there. And then it goes through and lists out all of the,
it transforms basically in text, right?
Correct.
Digestible.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can output in plain text. You can output in, by default, markdown. Let's see what else. The help. The help is really slow. That was the other thing I noticed, is the help was slow and it's really ugly.
So, Darin, we were ahead of our times when we were insisting that everything should be written in Markdown.
Yep. Pretty much. You can go from docx, PowerPoint, HTML, images, PDF, ASCII doc, Markdown. So you can do Markdown to Markdown. Why? You would? Well, actually, I know why you would. In case you were doing in some sort of transform, which you can do, right? Excel, Patent Office, U.S. Patent Office, some XML, Docling, audio, and VTT. VTT is... So I did audio today, and I needed OpenAI Whisper to do that. And then you can send it out to JSON, Markdown, HTML, HTML split page, text, and then doc tags, wherever the heck doc tags is. Default is Markdown.
Okay. Nice.
And then you have, again, this is just a CLI, so if you wanted to actually write code and get right to the APIs, you can do that too. But the CLI does a lot for you, just out of the box. So I was thinking about... Go ahead.
There is a hidden motivation here. Once you're done with doing that, converting PDF to Markdown for LLM something, throw that PDF to trash. Do yourself a favor.
And then maintain everything in the Markdown, and then just generate a PDF when you have to. Yeah,
exactly.
That's my gut feel on this as well. Again, if you're stuck needing to start trying to get your documentation ready to go for feeding it into, or you're wanting to update documentation so LLMs can scrape it better or whatever, Docling is probably one of the things that will help you get there. And something I just didn't know about until I actually saw there was a Java API, which Java API, not surprisingly, looks exactly like the Python API.
I mean, I'm guessing that they're auto-generated. Usually you do it for one language and then you
Well, let me
generate
show you
libraries.
Let's go back over there real quick, because I do want to show, because the API is like stupid simple. If we take a look at, whoops, wrong screen to zoom. This is the right screen to zoom. So so you do an import, get the source, convert it, or set up a converter, convert it, and then you print it however you want to.
Yeah.
The demo looks exactly the same for Java, in case you're doing. But then you can use different models or visual language models as well. So
nice.
It's very, very simplistic, which is good, but that's also what we need, is simple for that. Your camera just is not happy today.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's hitting
overheating.
I don't know. So
It's probably.
Anyway,
Okay.
you will have to listen to me without looking at me.
That's fine. Okay. We'll just have a nice black screen there. So anyway, we will not be back next Friday. Sorry about that, but my daughter beats everybody else here. So we're going to go have fun, whatever that fun may be. Who knows? It won't be ice skating. I know that much, because it's going to be probably 80 next week. So here's the other thing. Is yesterday we had 4 inches, or roughly 10 centimeters of rain yesterday. That's a lot of rain. It more than filled up the big holes in my yard, which was not good. But, so we'll be back in 2 weeks, and then we probably should be on... Yeah, we should, unless something happens, we should be around every Friday for the rest of the year, minus the very last Friday in December, I think, which is in between. It's right after Christmas, I think. And we'll probably take that Friday off. But besides that, we'll be here. So thanks, everybody. Yeah. Let us know what you think about the vertical stream. I mean, it doesn't cost us anything else to do it. It's just a little bit more setup work. But it seemed to have worked for people watching on LinkedIn. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's different ways of doing things, and we're trying to figure out. This is also me trying to test out things, and it's like, do I want to keep this or not long term? And that's what we're figuring out. Yeah.
We're saving people from, rotating their phone 90 degrees.
Yeah, and being super small. Whereas, and I'll go back and, is Docling from Red Hat? Docling is from IBM, which is Red Hat. No, wait. Yes. Red Hat is IBM. Yeah.
Red Hat is IBM, yeah. Not the other way around.
Yeah, Red Hat is, well, it depends. Yes. Red Hat is inside IBM, but all the people that are in charge are at Red Hat. I think that's it for today. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live. If you weren't live with us, you're watching the replays, thanks for watching the replays, and leave the YouTube comment or thumbs up Or thumbs down if you wish. Can you even do thumbs down anymore? I don't even know. I think people got mad and they had to remove them. I'm okay with
No, I
thumbs down.
don't think, is it removed or that you don't see it as stats, I think. Anyways, something.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. People in the U.S., remember next week is Thanksgiving, so enjoy your turkey comas and football. And